Hello, welcome to another Daily Digest video. I'm Merriam today. I'm continuing to explore some decks from the Pro Tour. These are ones that you did not see at the top tables. They were sort of lurking with pretty reasonable records in the constructed portion of the event, but and a little bit spicier. This one is a Goryo's Vengeance deck, which you might be able to tell by the Gristlebrand of my opening hand, but it really is not trying to go over the top with Gristlebrand. There's only a singleton copy in the deck. It's trying to play fair. You can reanimate Jace and transform it and keep the Jace Telepath Unbound around, and you can reanimate Obsidat. But other than that, it's just a pretty standard Esper mid-range shell. Really just playing a disrupt you, attrition you kind of game plan, and Obsidat is pretty good in that plan. You know, some percentage of the games you just get a turn 2 Obsidat or turn 2 Gristlebrand and run away with it, which is a nice thing to have in your back pocket. This hand is not very good because it's just so dependent on resolving this Jace and having the Jace stick around. I guess even if they kill Jace, I can Liliana. I can discard the Gristlebrand that way, and Liliana can do something. It's a little bit better than I initially thought, but the 4 lands too. If any one of these lands was like some piece of interaction or a cantrip of some kind, I would like the hand a lot. I'm going to keep, but I'm not at all confident that this is right. This is the kind of hand that I think often comes up that a lot of people don't mulligan enough, and yet here I am keeping it. So I kind of hope I get crushed, and it just proves my reticence. Opponent mulled to 6 and bottomed. That is at least a good sign. Let's get this fetch out. We're less likely to be met with a very fast start from our opponent here that could punish our slow one. Okay, turn 1 Hallowed Fountain into Serum Visions. Let me get my F6 value out of the way here. I would like a Hallowed Fountain of my own. And your Serum Visions is good. How are you going to scry? Bottom, say? Could be anything. Really thinking about this. Bottom top, okay. Pretty typical. This Obsidat is not great. So, hopefully my opponent is blue-white and not Jeskai, and this Jace is going to have to get pathed, or well, at least just one loot off the Jace would be really helpful to turn this Gristlebrand into a random card. And then Liliana can drop the Obsidat. Ooh, yeah, it looks like we're going to path. Ooh, Serum Visions, no path. Okay. Jace has lived. We've accomplished our goal. Could be getting D-sphered on the next turn. The bottom top here. I would at this point assume that my opponent is playing blue-white and not Jeskai with 2 straight Hallowed Fountains. Let's loot first. This Tasker is a little awkward because the cards I'm discarding I really don't want to exile, but now this Thought Scour is good. I'm still going to take the time to resolve the Liliana here, because Liliana is pretty powerful in this matchup, as opposed to the Tasker that can just get 1 for 1. So let's get a Liliana down. We can discard this Obsidat, which we're pretty far off from casting, and just wait for some Goryo's Vengeance action here. I guess I could have Thought Scoured to immediately flip the Jace. I didn't really think about that. I think getting the Liliana down is better, though. We can try to transform Jace next turn. D-Sphere deals with it either way. But if we get Path, that could be bad. Now they might want to D-Sphere this Liliana. And they discard a Field of Ruin. Let's get these graveyards up, because I think these are going to be important. I have a ton of ways to interact with the graveyard. My opponent has Snapcasters. Okay. These next couple turns are going to be really critical to see what my opponent has to deal with my threats. Oh, wow. Well, Elixir is an interesting one, but it's also one that I'm pretty good against, and Liliana especially is good against. So I'm going to start by playing this fetch out. Then I'm going to Thought Scour. Getting the fetch out means I can respond to like a removal spell at this point by cracking the fetch and activating the Jace and transforming it. And I want to Thought Scour first just to see what I draw before making the decision on Liliana. Ooh, that is a good one. Let's... wow. I guess I'll actually loot with Jace first. Oh, I got another card in my hand. Okay, this second Jace is not great. Definitely discard the land. I'm thinking about just flashing back Thought Scour to get another card in my hand. I'm a little worried about a counter spell on a Goryo's Vengeance. I imagine if they had a path, they would have used it on the Jace. So my Obsidat should be pretty good, or I can just go ham for the Gristlebrand. I guess I could just go for the Goryos right now, because they're not going to discard a counterspell they can cast right now, so the Liliana doesn't really affect whether Goryos is going to resolve. And then I can just draw a bunch of cards with the Gristlebrand and discard to Liliana that way. Yeah, sure. Well, Goryos Vengeance, my Gristlebrand. I'm not too worried even about getting this countered because I have the Jace to flash it back next turn. Okay, they do remand. Now let's plus this Liliana and discard my Jace. They'll go down to 3 cards in hand, and now I can cast this Tassiger. They just discard a land. Don't think my life total matters much. I'm just going to get a shock land, play a Tassiger, and I'm very far ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Leave myself with both the creatures I want and the 2 spells that I think I'm most likely to want to flash back other than Goryos. Let's plus this with no targets. And now, I mean, they have to deal with so much here with only 3 cards in their hand. And they know my last card is Goryos Vengeance. Oh, that is certainly one tilt. So I was going to just jam the Vengeance because I can flashback with Jace, but if they have Cryptic Command, they can counter Vengeance, bounce the Jace Telepath, and bound, which I don't like. Okay, well, they made it easy. My plan there was actually going to be to flashback the Collective Brutality as a duress, force them to react. Like, even if they counter that and bounce my Liliana, I don't get to activate it. I still get to Goryos and Gristlebrand, which is attack them for 11, go to 23, draw 14 cards or something, and just be miles ahead. Probably find a discard spell and a land to further compound the problems. Might even have been better just to find the Obsidat. They go to 14, attack for 9, brings them to 5. It gets exiled for sure. They're going to go to 3. They would need 2 paths on their turn just to deal with that. And I'd still have Jace flashback on the Gristlebrand. They need 2 paths and a counterspell. But they just didn't really have a lot of interaction there on the early turns, and I was able to pull very far ahead. So I won very easily on a hand that maybe shouldn't have. How much do I like Disdainful Stroke in this matchup? It really only counters Cryptic Command, right? Hmm. Could just cut the removal spells there. Brutality, still a duress, which is kind of nice. I'm always a little worried about dealing with Celestial Colonnade in matchups like this. Um, though I don't have a deck that's super vulnerable to it. My creatures all attack into it. Obsidian, Tastic, Regressive Brand. Lingering Souls is generally fine attacking into it. Uh, it can help pressure Planeswalkers, which I have many of. Um, but that's about it. And it's really expensive for it to do that. Usually Liliana's good at restricting the number of resources in the game to the point where activating Colonnade is a very difficult thing to do. So I kind of like just doing this. I want my Tassikers. I want my Lilianas. Like I say, I could have Disdainful Stroke instead of Brutality and counter some of their Planeswalkers in Cryptic Command. But my deck's pretty proactive. I don't think I want to sit there and leave mana up. And it's again, Liliana makes things like that hard to do, which is why you rarely see Liliana paired with counter spells, but you see it paired with discard spells all the time. So I think I'm just going to make this 4/4 swap. I guess Fragmentize could also kill a Detention Sphere. But my opponent's not playing a normalized blue-white list, right? They have Elixir of Immortality. That usually means more counter spells, more instant speed card draw, fewer permanents. So I should probably be less wary of those kinds of cards. Oh, did I not? Oh, no. Spent too much time thinking, may not have sideboarded. Well, I guess we'll see as we play this game. But this hand's pretty good. I think I'm going to Thought Scour on turn 1. Because if my opponent taps out and I hit something great, I have the Gorios, and there's no real need to fire off the Thoughtseize immediately because I'm not resolving anything great if I do that. So, yeah. Opponent gets to keep 7 this game. Good for them. Ooh, now we drew an Inquisition of Kozilek. Still going to Thought Scour on turn 1. Let's do it while they're tapped out. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I drew a land, milled some irrelevant cards. So we'll just tear their hand apart here with these discard spells. Ooh. Okay. Let's start with the Inquisition. And now we have another Thought Scour. And then next turn we can Thoughtseize into the Gorios if we hit something. Possible that they would Mana Leak this, just to deprive us of the information. Telling Time in response. There is some instant speed card draw. Yeah, they're a very reactive blue-white control deck here. I wouldn't be surprised if their only creatures were Snapcaster Mages, maybe one Torrential Gearhulk, like the big Jeskai decks do. But Elixir might even be in the place of that Gearhulk slot. Okay, our opponent has... wow, they're playing Terminus, so they're sort of miracling. I guess Telling Time is very good at that. But there's no need for me to take the path right now. Terminus is quite bad against my deck, so that's also a good sign. Yeah, I'll just take the snap. So they have 3 lands, path, Terminus. I'll get my F6 value out of the way here. Ooh, there's the Gristlebrand. I guess it's possible that I want to hold my my Thought Scours. You kind of mess up the top of their deck. Oh no! Why? They had the Relic on top from the Telling Time. They tricked me. Oh no! My Goryo's Vengeances are so bad now. They don't even do anything. I don't think I'm supposed to run the Gorios into their thing. I think my plan is to just take away this path and try to resolve an Obsidat. Oh, man. Really? They just had it. This game got a lot tougher. Okay. Maybe I was supposed to Thoughtseize first? I thought Thoughtseize would just be more versatile. But if I Thoughtseize first, then I could use Brutality to pitch the Obsidat and Goryo's Vengeance it. Gotten a free drain. Either way, they have 3 lands at a Terminus, so let's take this path. And I don't really want to Thoughtseize the Terminus since it's so bad. So I'll just pass the turn. The Brutality was also more mana efficient there, in case I draw like Lilianas and stuff I want to play. I didn't. Okay. So I should know 3 cards in their hand. Yep. Terminus, Island, Hallowed Fountain. Yeah, knowing that their hand was pretty weak, I should have known that they were going to want to blow the Relic pretty early there, and I could have capitalized on that. Let's get a Godless Shrine this time. I have so many black cards in my hand. Okay, let's Thoughtseize. Good news now is that if they rip a counterspell for this Obsidat, I have the Gorios. Oh, another Telling Time, eh? So they get to hide the best card here. Telling Time is good against Thoughtseize. I have a basic Plains in my deck, right? Might not. No, there's a basic Plains. Opt and Terminus. So let's take the Opt and play this tapped. And I'm still going to pass because I don't care about the Terminus still. I'm going to try to resolve the Obsidat next turn. If they counter it, then I have Thoughtseize Gorios for the turn after. There's the Hallowed Fountain. Ooh, they're playing a spell. Tapping out for Riverwise Augur. Okay, I guess that also goes, they're like a miracle kind of thing. Well, I do appreciate that they tapped out. I guess now they can find a path for this Obsidat, but I assume that they would hide path on top. Maybe with a Terminus below it to give them the option of Terminusing. I'm definitely going to resolve the Obsidat while I can. Very interesting. Riverwise Augur. Now I can duress, kill the Augur, and then Goryo's Vengeance, the Obsidat. So I trade my Goryo's Vengeance for a duress, and my Brutality becomes kill the Augur. Is that good? I don't really see the Obsidat dying by a way that lets me rebuy it. So I would have to find another way to put something in the graveyard. And the Gristlebrand is gone, and I can hardcast Obsidat at this point. And this lets me potentially Thoughtseize if they have a bunch of good cards in their hand. But they have probably hidden 2. Though knowing the 2 other cards will give me an idea of what's on top of their deck. And I have to imagine they put the Terminus back there, either to shuffle it away with a fetch or to potentially cast it for its miracle cost. So yeah, let's go with this Brutality plan. Let's escalate 2 modes. Target creature gets -2/-2, and this one, cast it, choose an opponent, choose a creature, discard a card. Oh, gotta pay mana first. Sure. Discard a card. Doing it all. Don't have surgical, please. That would be a tilt. Okay, so they kept the 2 cards we knew about. So they have 2 good ones on top, I guess. Well, if one of them's a Path or a Snapcaster, we're in some trouble. Because we're pretty out of gas. All these ways to hide cards against our discard have been very effective. Very effective. Am I going to have to stack the triggers appropriately here? I think so. So let's put this one on the stack first, so the Obsidat one resolves first, and then we get it back. Yes, I would like to exile it. Okay. So now they play Island Go here. Probably Snap Path or something. Search for Azcanta. Okay. Well, that I'm okay with. At the very least, we're going to get 7 in here. So we're going to be 1 short. So if I drained them, I needed to drain them with the brutality pitching the Thoughtseize, then they'd be dead. I guess I could have figured that out by doing some math. That might have been worth it because the Thoughtseize is going to be pretty bad. Yeah, very bad. So let's attack for 5. Only I could cast these Thoughtseizes. I guess even at 8th and speed, it wouldn't be worth it. Yeah, and if they kept a Snap in their hand too, the Thoughtseize would have been very, very relevant. I just blow one now for mana efficiency. I don't really see the point. But so they're going to have, if their top card is good, they can keep that one. Otherwise, they get the next one and look at the next 4 with Search because they have exactly 6 cards in their graveyard. That's lucky. Okay, so they found another Terminus. That was the thing. Okay, they mill that one. So their Brainstorm is pretty bad. They did hide the best card in the Search, but it was generally just not a good Brainstorm. Another Riverwise Augur. Okay, well, that seems worse than just activating Azcanta, right? I guess activating Azcanta doesn't let them find Snap because it's non-creature. So maybe this does if they've drawn a land. Or no, they have to draw a land and Snap because they have Terminus in their hand. I guess they, okay, no, this lets them leave the Terminus on top, and if they find an Opt, then they can cast the Terminus that way. So I guess maybe I should have Thoughtseized. I didn't think of them drawing Riverwise Augur into Opt. Hard to come up with that one. Okay, well, they didn't find it. So the Obsidat was going to go all the way. If they didn't have a way to answer it that turn, they just go to 1, and I exile it. I wouldn't have even attacked in case of like Blessed Alliance or something. Force them to at least use that for 4 life instead of dealing with the Obsidat. And then it was going to kill them on the way back. Just if they had a way to gain life, they could have found it off Search the next turn, but they know their deck better than I do, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't, given how much of their deck is set up to deal with miracles. But cool little deck there, using new Brainstorm creature from Riles of Ixalan, but I think that kind of deck is going to be generally pretty weak to ours, like multiple Planeswalkers, threats that are tough to answer outside of their paths, a whole ton of discard, and a lot of card advantage. Like, just a nightmare for a control deck that wants to go long. And then we get to side in threats like Lingering Souls that sort of force Terminuses at awkward times and continue to synergize with all of our graveyard elements. They did have a Relic there, but with a Gaslight hand, they were forced to pop it earlier than they would have liked to try to dig for gas and just didn't really find anything. Had these Terminuses that weren't very good. And we were able to force through our Gorya's Vengeances. Cool playing with Obsidat. It's a fun card, but Hope you enjoyed watching that one, and you can come back and see me on Friday. Bye.